The lights of Nexus Station never went out. Day and night meant nothing in the cold space between stars. The giant station spun slowly, creating fake gravity for the thousands of beings who lived and worked inside its metal walls. In the main corridors, aliens from dozens of worlds walked past each other. Tall Vorthak merchants with their gray skin and forearms carried expensive goods. Elegant ethereal beings floated above the ground, their blue energy forms glowing softly. Insect-like critics clicked and buzzed as they hurried to their ships. Everyone had somewhere important to go, but in the forgotten corners of the station, in the narrow maintenance halls where only cleaning robots usually went, a small blue boy sat on the cold floor. He held his mother close to his chest and cried. The boy's name was Zethi. He was only 12 years old, but his large eyes looked much older. His people were called Quillans. They had soft blue skin that you could almost see through, and big eyes that showed every feeling. Right now, those eyes were full of fear. His mother, Vera, lay still in his arms. Her breathing was slow and weak. Dark lines spread under her translucent skin like cracks in glass. The crimson fever was killing. Her and Zethi knew it. For 3 days he had been trying to get help. 3 long days of begging every person who walked by. His voice was now just a whisper, but he never stopped trying. "Please," he said to a passing Vorthak merchant. "My mother is sick. Please help." The tall gray alien looked down at them for just a moment. His 4 eyes scanned Vera with a small device. The machine beeped red. The merchant shook his large head and walked away without saying a word. Zethi knew what the red beep meant. It meant his mother was going to die. An hour later, 2 ethereal beings floated past. Their bodies were made of pure energy, and they spoke without moving their mouths. They were known across the galaxy as healers and wise beings. "Please," Zethi called out to them. "Can you help my mother?" One of the ethereals stopped. Its blue form flickered as it looked at Vera. For a moment, Zethi felt hope. But then the being spoke in a voice like wind chimes. "The disease has progressed too far. Her neural pathways are damaged beyond repair. It would be a waste of energy to try." They floated away, leaving Zethi alone again. A group of Kredix insects walked by next. They were doctors from their homeworld, known for their medical knowledge. Zethi crawled toward them, still holding his mother. "Please help her," he begged. "She is all I have." The lead Kredix made clicking sounds. Its translator device spoke, in a flat voice. "Quillan biology is too simple. Crimson fever has 100% death rate at this stage. Nothing can be done." They walked away without looking back. As the hours passed, more beings came and went. Some ignored Zethi completely. Others stopped long enough to scan Vera with their medical tools. But they all gave the same answer. She was going to die. There was no cure for crimson fever once it got this bad. A few aliens even got angry at Zethi for blocking their path. One large creature kicked him aside and told him to find somewhere else to die. But Zethi would not give up. Every time someone walked by, he tried again. "Please help her," he whispered over and over. "Please help my mother." His throat was dry and his voice was almost gone. Vera had not opened her eyes in hours. The dark lines under her skin were getting worse. He could feel her body getting colder. Then he heard fast footsteps coming down the corridor. A human was walking quickly toward them. He was not very tall, with black hair and glasses. He wore a white coat with lots of pockets filled with tools and papers. His face looked tired and worried. He carried a large bag and kept checking the time on his wrist device. Zethi had never seen a human before. He had heard stories about them, though. Some said humans were dangerous. Others said they were strange and unpredictable. Most aliens thought humans were just another species trying to make money and gain power like everyone else. The human was walking so fast that he almost stepped on them. At the last second, he saw Zethi and tried to step around. But Zethi reached out and grabbed the human's white coat with his small blue hand. "Please, sir," Zethi whispered. His voice was so quiet the human had to lean down to hear him. "Help her, please." The human stopped walking. He looked down at Zethi, then at Vera, lying still in the boy's arms. For a moment, Zethi thought the human would walk away like all the others, but instead the human knelt down on the cold floor next to them. "What happened to her?" the human asked. His voice was gentle and kind. He spoke galactic standard with a strange accent that Zethi had never heard before. "Crimson fever," Zethi said. "She has been sick for many days. Everyone says she will die, but I cannot let her die. She is my mother." The human pulled a medical scanner from his coat. It was different from the ones the other aliens had used. He ran it over Vera's body slowly and carefully. The device made soft, beeping sounds. "My name is Jihoon," the human said while he worked. "What is your name?" "Zethi." "My mother is Vera. We came here looking for help, but no one cares about Quillins." Jihoon's scanner finished its work. He looked at the results with a deep frown. Zethi could see the same red warnings that all the other scanners had shown. Complete system failure, hours until death, no known treatment. Zethi closed his eyes and waited for Jihoon to stand up and walk away like all the rest. But Jihoon did not stand up. Instead, he put his scanner away and looked directly into Zethi's eyes. "I am a doctor," Jihoon said. "I study alien biology. I do not know much about Quillin medicine, but I know someone who might be able to help." Zethi's heart jumped. "You will help us?" "I will try," Jihoon said. "I cannot promise anything, but I will not leave you here alone." For the first time in 3 days, Zethi felt hope. This strange human with the gentle voice was the first being who had not walked away. The first one who had said he would try. "Why?" Zethi asked. "Other people say Quillins are not important. Why do you want to help?" Jihoon was quiet for a moment. He looked at Vera, then back at Zethi. When he spoke, his voice was firm and sure. "Because you asked me to," he said simply. "And because she is your mother. That makes her important." Zethi did not understand. In 3 days, hundreds of beings had walked past them. Powerful aliens with great technology and knowledge. Rich merchants who could buy anything. Wise beings who knew the secrets of the universe. But only this one human had stopped. Only this one human had said yes. "Can you really save her?" Zethi whispered. Jihoon looked at his scanner again. The readings were terrible. By all the laws of medicine and science, Vera was already dead. But when he looked back at Zethi's hopeful face, something inside him refused to give up. "I do not know," Jihoon said honestly. "But I'm going to try everything I can think of. Sometimes that is enough." He gently lifted Vera into his arms. She was so light and fragile, like she might break if he held her too tightly. "Come with me," Jihoon told Zethi. "We have work to do." As they walked down the corridor together, Zethi felt something he had not felt in days. He felt like maybe, just maybe, his mother might live to see another day. And it was all because one human had stopped to listen when a small alien boy said, "Help her, please." Jihoon carried Vera through the busy corridors of Nexus Station. Zethi walked close beside him, never letting his mother out of his sight. Other aliens stared at them as they passed. Some made clicking sounds of disapproval. Others simply moved away as if being near the sick Quillin might bring them bad luck. "Where are we going?" Zethi asked. "To my research lab," Jihoon said. "I have better medical equipment there, and I need to call my friend on Earth." They took a lift to the research level of the station. The corridors here were quieter and cleaner. Most of the doors had signs in different alien languages. Jihoon stopped at a door marked Human Medical Research, Dr. J. Kang. Inside, the lab was small but filled with computers and medical machines. Jihoon gently placed Vera on an examination table. Her breathing was getting weaker, and the dark lines under her skin were spreading faster. "How long does she have?" Zethi asked quietly. Jihoon looked at his medical scanner again. The numbers were getting worse every minute. "Maybe 6 hours," he said honestly. "Maybe less." Zethi's eyes filled with tears, but he did not cry. He had been strong for 3 days, and he would be strong now too. Jihoon activated his communication device. After a few moments, a woman's face appeared on the screen. She had long black hair and looked very tired. "Ji-hoon," the woman said. "Why are you calling? You should be on your transport to Earth by now." "Minji, I need your help," Ji-hoon said, quickly. "I have a Quillen patient with crimson fever, late stage. I need everything we have about Quillen biology." Dr. Minji Park was Ji-hoon's best friend and research partner. She worked on Earth at the Human Medical Center. Her face looked confused. "Quillen biology? Ji-hoon, we barely have any data on them. They are not part of the Galactic Medical Database. And crimson fever is considered incurable." "I know what everyone says," Ji-hoon replied, "but I am not everyone. This is a 12-year-old boy and his dying mother. I am not walking away." Minji could see the determination in her friend's eyes. She had known Ji-hoon for 10 years. When he decided to help someone, nothing could stop him. "Okay," she said with a sigh. "Give me 2 hours, I will find everything I can." While they waited, Ji-hoon connected Vera to his life support machines. The devices helped her breathe and kept her heart beating, but they could not stop the disease. Zethi sat beside his mother and held her hand. "Tell me about your people," Ji-hoon said as he worked. "How did this disease start?" Zethi looked up at the human doctor. No one had ever asked him about his people before. Most aliens did not care about Quillen history. "We live on Thessia Prime," Zethi began. "It was a beautiful world with blue forests and silver rivers. My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days when our people lived in harmony with nature." Ji-hoon continued working while he listened. He was running blood tests and brain scans trying to understand how the disease worked. "What happened?" Ji-hoon asked. "The Vorthak came," Zethi said, his voice getting sad. "They wanted the metals under our ground. They built big machines and dug deep holes. They said it would bring progress to our world." Ji-hoon had heard similar stories before. The Vorthak Consortium was known across the galaxy for strip mining planets and leaving environmental disasters behind. "The machines poisoned our air and water," Zethi continued. "Many animals died. The plants turned black. Then our people started getting sick. The elders called it crimson fever because of the red lines it makes under our skin." "How many are sick?" Ji-hoon asked. "Thousands," Zethi whispered. "Maybe more. The Galactic Health Authority said it was just the natural result of industrial progress. They said some deaths were acceptable for the greater good of galactic commerce." Ji-hoon stopped working for a moment. He looked at Zethi with anger in his eyes. "They said that about children? They said our people were not economically important enough for major medical research," Zethi replied. "We were told to accept our fate." Just then, the lab door opened. A young human man rushed in carrying medical supplies. "Dr. Kang." The man said. "I came as soon as I heard. Is this the Quillen patient?" This was Taeho Kim, Ji-hoon's research assistant. He was only 25 years old, but he was brilliant with alien biology. "Taeho, thank you for coming," Ji-hoon said. "We have maybe 5 hours to find a cure for a disease that has never been cured." Taeho looked at the scanner readings and whistled softly. "These numbers are terrible. Complete nervous system failure. How is she still alive?" "She is strong," Zethi said proudly. "My mother is the strongest person I know." For the next 2 hours, the two humans worked frantically. They ran every test they could think of. They analyzed Vera's blood, her brain waves, and her genetic code. Zethi watched them work and marveled at their dedication. Other aliens had given up the moment they saw the scanner readings. But these humans kept trying even when the situation looked hopeless. They did not seem to care about profit or politics. They only cared about saving his mother. Finally, Minji's face appeared on the communication screen again. She looked excited. "Ji-hoon, I found something interesting," she said. "Quillen neural pathways are unique. They use quantum resonance patterns that I have never seen before." "What does that mean?" Ji-hoon asked. "It means their brains work differently than any other species we know. But here is the interesting part. Those quantum patterns are similar to the frequencies used in our experimental neural stabilizers." Taeho looked up from his work. "The quantum stabilizers? Those are still being tested. We do not even know if they work on humans yet." What are neural stabilizers? Zethi asked. Jihoon sat down next to the boy. They are devices that can repair damaged nerve pathways using quantum energy. We developed them to help humans with brain injuries, but they have never been tested on alien biology. Could they help my mother? Zethi asked hopefully. Maybe, Jihoon said carefully, but it is very dangerous. The device might kill her instantly, if our calculations are wrong. Minji's voice came from the screen. Jihoon, I am sending you all the data now, but you need to know. Even if this works, there is only a 30% chance of success. Zethi looked at his mother lying on the table. Her breathing was so weak now that the machines were doing most of the work for her. The dark lines had spread all over her body. Without treatment, she would die in the next few hours anyway. 30% is better than 0%, Zethi said quietly. Taeho was studying the data that Minji had sent. Doctor, this is incredibly risky. If we are wrong about the quantum frequencies, we could cause massive brain damage. And if we do nothing, she dies anyway, Jihoon replied. At that moment, another human entered the lab. It was Captain Yuna, Choi from the human research ship Harmony. She carried a large case of medical equipment. I heard you needed help, she said simply. What can I do? Zethi looked around the room at all the humans who had come to help his mother. People who had never met him before. People who had nothing to gain by helping a poor Quillan refugee. Why are you all doing this? He asked. Your own people say humans are selfish and only care about money. Captain Yuna smiled. Then your people do not know humans very well. Jihoon checked the time. Vera had maybe 3 hours left. The neural stabilizer would take 2 hours to prepare and calibrate for Quillan biology. They were cutting it very close. Are we really going to try this? Taeho asked. Jihoon looked at Zethi, then at Vera, then at all the humans who had come to help. He thought about what the other aliens had said, that it was hopeless, that some deaths were acceptable, that Quillans were not worth saving. Yes, Jihoon said firmly. We are going to try, because that is what humans do. We try when everyone else gives up. As they began preparing the experimental device, Zethi felt something he had never experienced before. He felt what it was like to have people fight for you even when the odds were terrible, even when logic said it was impossible. For the first time, he began to understand why humans were different from every other species in the galaxy. They did not give up on each other, and today they were not giving up on his mother either. The neural quantum stabilizer was a machine the size of a large box. It had wires and sensors that would connect to Vera's head. Blue lights blinked on its surface, and it made soft humming sounds as Jihoon and Taeho prepared it for use. The quantum frequencies have to be exactly right, Taeho said as he adjusted the controls. Too high and we could burn out her entire nervous system. Too low and it will not work at all. Vera's breathing was getting worse. The dark lines under her translucent skin now covered her whole body like a spider web. Her heart rate was dropping, and the medical machines were beeping warnings constantly. How much time do we have? Captain Yuna asked. Jihoon checked his scanner. Maybe 2 hours, possibly less. The lab door opened again. Another human walked in, carrying tools and cables. It was Hyunwoo Lee, the station's human engineer. I heard, you need more power for your experiment, Hyunwoo said. The station's standard power grid cannot handle the energy requirements for the stabilizer. Can you fix it? Jihoon asked. Hyunwoo smiled. I can jury-rig the power systems to give you what you need. It might cause some lights to flicker in other parts of the station, but it will work. As Hyunwoo worked on the power systems, another human arrived. So Young-Jon was a nurse from the medical bay. She carried additional monitoring equipment. I came to help watch the patient's vital signs, she said kindly to Zethi. Do not worry. We will take good care of your mother. Zethi looked around the small lab. It was now filled with humans who had dropped everything to help save his mother. None of them had ever met him before today. None of them would gain anything by helping. But they were all here, working together like pieces of a machine. This is how humans always work, Zethi asked So-young. When someone needs help, yes, she replied. We believe that helping others makes us all stronger. On the communication screen, Dr. Minji Park was still connected from Earth. She had been running calculations for hours, trying to find the perfect settings for the device. Ji-hoon, I think I have the right quantum frequency, she said. But I need to warn you, the treatment will be very hard on her body. Even if it works, she might not survive the process. Ji-hoon looked at Zethi. The boy was holding his mother's hand tightly. Vera had not opened her eyes in hours, but sometimes her fingers moved slightly when Zethi spoke to her. Zethi, Ji-hoon said gently, you need to understand. This treatment might save your mother, but it might also kill her. The choice is yours. Zethi was quiet for a long moment. He looked at his mother's peaceful face. She had always been strong, for him. Now it was his turn to be strong for her. My mother would want us to try, he said finally. She always told me to never give up, even when things look impossible. Then we try, Ji-hoon said. The humans spent the next hour connecting sensors to Vera's head and body. The quantum stabilizer would send energy pulses directly into her brain, trying to repair the damaged neural pathways. It was like performing surgery with lightning. Power levels are stable, Yunwoo reported from his control panel. Vital signs are as good as they can be, So-young said, watching her monitors. Quantum frequencies are calibrated, Taiho announced. All systems are ready, Captain Yuna confirmed. Ji-hoon stood next to the main control panel. His finger hovered over the activation button. Once he pressed it, there would be no going back. The machine would either save Vera or kill her. Beginning treatment now, he said, and pressed the button. The stabilizer hummed to life. Blue energy flowed through, the wires connected to Vera's head. On the monitors, they could see her brain activity changing as the quantum pulses worked on her damaged nerves. For the first few minutes, everything looked good. Vera's vital signs remained stable. The dark lines under her skin seemed to stop, spreading. Then something went wrong. Neural activity is spiking, So-young called out. Her brain is fighting the treatment. Vera's body began to shake. The monitors showed her heart rate jumping up and down wildly. The quantum energy was too much for her weakened system. Should we stop? Taiho asked urgently. No, Ji-hoon said firmly. Reduce the power by 20% and adjust the frequency. They worked frantically to save her as her body fought against the alien technology. For 30 minutes, Vera's condition went up and down like a roller coaster. Twice her heart almost stopped completely. Each time the humans managed to bring her back. This is not working, Taiho said, sweat dripping from his face. The quantum patterns are too different from human biology. Wait, Dr. Minji said from the screen. Try inverting the frequency wave. Make it mirror the natural Quillen neural pattern instead of overriding it. Taiho's hands flew over the controls. Inverting now. Suddenly Vera's vital signs began to stabilize. The shaking stopped. Her breathing became deeper and more regular. It's working, So-young whispered. The dark lines are actually getting lighter. They watched in amazement as the crimson fever slowly retreated. The dark web under Vera's skin began to fade. Her brain scans showed damaged pathways repairing themselves, but the treatment was not over. For 6 more hours, the humans took turns monitoring the machines and adjusting the settings. None of them left the lab. None of them took a break. They stayed with Vera and Zethi through the entire night. Zethi had never seen anything like it. On his homeworld, when someone got sick, their family took care of them. But here, complete strangers were treating his mother like she was their own family member. Why do you care so much? He asked So-young during one of the quiet moments. Because she is a mother, So-young replied simply. And you are her son, that is enough. As the station's artificial dawn began, something wonderful happened. Vera's eyes opened. They were clear and bright, not clouded with fever. She looked around the room in confusion, seeing all the humans and their strange machines. Zethi? She whispered in Quillen. Where are we? Zethi cried with joy as he hugged his mother. We are safe, Mother. The human saved you. Jihoon ran a medical scan. The results made him smile broadly. Not only was the crimson fever gone, but Vera's neural pathways were actually stronger than before. The quantum treatment had not just cured the disease, it had made her immune to it forever. How do you feel? Dr. Minji asked from the communication screen. Vera sat up slowly, helped by her son. She looked at all the humans who had worked so hard to save her life. She tried to speak in Galactic Standard, but her voice was too weak. She says thank you, Zethi translated. She says she does not understand why strangers would do so much for people they do not know. Captain Yuna smiled. Tell her it is what families do for each other. And today, we are all family. As word spread through the station that the impossible had happened, that humans had cured the incurable crimson fever, aliens began gathering outside the lab. Some came out of curiosity. Others came because they had family members with the same disease. But the humans did not stop to celebrate. Jihoon was already making plans to help more people. Minji, we need to get this treatment to Thesia Prime, he said. There are thousands of Quillans who need help. I am already preparing a medical mission, she replied. We can have ships ready to go in 48 hours. Taiho was copying all their research data. I will make sure every human medical facility gets this information. Hyunwoo was planning how to build more stabilizers quickly. We can mass-produce these machines in a few weeks. Soyoung was organizing medical supplies. We will need lots of equipment for a mission that big. Zethi listened to all this and felt something he had never felt before. Hope. Not just for his mother, but for all his people. These humans were not just going to save one life. They were going to save everyone. Your species is very strange, Vera said to Jihoon in broken Galactic Standard. Strange how? Jihoon asked. You help people for no reason, she replied. No profit. No power. Just help. Jihoon looked around at his fellow humans all working together to plan their next mission of mercy. Maybe that is what makes us human, he said. News traveled fast in the galaxy. Within hours, every species on Nexus Station knew that humans had done the impossible. They had cured crimson fever, a disease that the greatest medical minds in the galaxy had called hopeless. The first to arrive at Jihoon's lab were the Ethereal Council members. These beings of pure energy were known as the wisest healers in the galaxy. They floated into the room with their usual air of superiority. We must examine this treatment, the lead Ethereal announced. Our medical science is far more advanced than human technology. There must be an error in your data. Jihoon handed them the complete medical records. Feel free to check everything. The cure is real. The Ethereals spent an hour scanning Vera with their advanced devices. They ran the same tests over and over, unable to believe the results. Finally, they had to admit the truth. This is unexpected, the lead Ethereal said quietly. Our calculations showed that Quillan neural pathways could not be repaired once damaged. Maybe your calculations were wrong, Zethi said boldly. The Ethereal looked down at the small blue boy who had spoken to them so directly. Perhaps we did not consider all possibilities. After the Ethereals left, the Vorthak merchants arrived. These tall, gray beings were suddenly very interested in Quillan welfare, now that the Quillans could survive their mining operations. We would like to discuss purchasing this cure, the lead Vorthak said to Jihoon. We can offer you exclusive mining rights on 3 planets. The cure is not for sale, Jihoon replied firmly. Everything is for sale, the Vorthak insisted. Name your price. The price is 0, Captain Yuna said, stepping forward. We are giving this treatment away for free to anyone who needs it. The Vorthak looked confused. In their culture, nothing had value unless it cost money. The idea of giving away something so valuable made no sense to them. You are making a business mistake, the Vorthak warned. You could become very rich. We would rather save lives, Taiho said simply. Within 24 hours, 3 human medical ships arrived at Nexus Station. Dr. Minji Park led the mission, bringing dozens of human doctors and nurses. They carried enough quantum stabilizers to treat thousands of patients. Are you ready to go home? Minji asked Zethi. The boy looked up at her with wide eyes. You are coming to my planet? We are coming to help your people, she replied. All of them. The journey to Thessia Prime took 5 days. During the trip, Zethi learned to speak better galactic standard from the human crew. They also taught him some Korean words. He especially liked saying annyeonghaseyo, which meant hello in Korean. When they arrived at Thessia Prime, Zethi's heart broke. His beautiful blue world was covered in gray dust from the Vorthak mining operations. The silver rivers had turned black. The forests were gone, replaced by giant metal machines that dug deep into the ground. But the Quillen people came out to meet the human ships. Thousands of them, many sick with crimson fever, gathered at the landing site. They had heard impossible rumors that strangers from a distant world had come to help them. These are humans, Zethi announced to his people in Quillen. They saved my mother. Now they want to save all of us. The humans worked day and night. They set up medical camps across the planet. Dr. Yoonbi Nam, a human epidemiologist, organized the treatment schedules. Dr. Sun Ho Park ran the equipment maintenance. Nurse Ji-won Lee trained local Quillens to help with patient care. Within 2 weeks, they had cured over 3,000 Quillens. Not only were the sick people healed, but they became immune to crimson fever forever. The disease that had killed so many was now powerless against them. But the humans did not stop there. They brought water purification systems to clean the poisoned rivers. They brought special plants that could grow in polluted soil. They shared technology to reduce the harmful effects of the mining operations. Why do you do all this? An elderly Quillen asked Dr. Minji. What do you want from us? We want you to be healthy and happy, Minji replied. That is enough. The story of what humans had done spread to every corner of the galaxy. The Galactic News Network ran stories about the miraculous cure. The Interstellar Medical Journal published papers about human quantum technology. Even the Galactic Council began to take notice of this strange species from Earth. 6 months later, Zethi found himself in the most important building in the galaxy, the Galactic Assembly Hall. He wore formal Quillen robes with a small earth pin on his chest. At only 12 years old, he was now the official Quillen representative to the galaxy. The assembly was debating the Universal Medical Assistance Protocols, a plan to help all species when medical disasters happened. Many of the alien delegates argued against it. The cost would be enormous, declared a critics representative. Each species should handle their own medical problems. It is not practical to help everyone, added an ethereal counselor. Resources are limited. Some species are more important than others, stated a Vorthak merchant coldly. Ambassador Do-hyun Pak represented Earth in the debate. He was a calm, wise man who spoke carefully. Honorable delegates, he said, 6 months ago, the galaxy considered crimson fever incurable. Today it no longer exists. This happened because one human doctor decided to help a sick child and his mother. One case is not enough data for galaxy-wide policy, the critics replied. Then let me provide more data, Zethi said, standing up from his seat. The entire assembly turned to look at the small blue boy. Many of the delegates had never seen a Quillen before. Some had forgotten that the Quillens even existed. 6 months ago my people were dying, Zethi said in perfect galactic standard. Thousands dead, thousands more sick. Your medical experts said nothing could be done. Your politicians said our deaths were acceptable for economic progress. He looked around the great hall, meeting the eyes of delegates from dozens of worlds. Then one human heard me say, "Help her, please," and he stopped. Not because he would get paid, not because it would make him famous, not because my people were important. He stopped because stopping was the right thing to do. The hall was completely silent. Even the Vorthak merchants had stopped talking. Dr. Ji-hoon Kang had a meeting to attend. He had important work to do, but he chose to help strangers instead. Because of that choice, my mother is alive. Because of that choice, my entire species still exists. Zethi pressed a button on his podium. A holographic display showed images of Thessia Prime. The before pictures showed the devastation and disease. The after pictures showed healthy Quillans working alongside human doctors, cleaning their world and rebuilding their society. Humans did not do this for money or power, Zethi continued. They did it because they believe every life has value. They are the only species in this galaxy who help others just because it is right. An ethereal delegate spoke up. Your point is touching, young Quillan. But emotion cannot drive galactic policy. Then let me speak of practical matters, Zethi replied. Today humans are the leading medical researchers in the galaxy. Every species now sends their difficult cases to human doctors. Earth has become the center of interstellar medicine. All because they helped people who everyone else ignored. He looked directly at the Vorthak delegation. The mining consortium still operates on my world, but now they follow human environmental guidelines. They hire Quillan workers instead of replacing them with machines. They are more profitable than ever because they have healthy workers and clean operations. The Vorthak merchants looked uncomfortable. It was true. Following human advice had actually made them more money. Universal medical assistance is not charity, Zethi said firmly. It is smart policy. When you help others, you help yourselves. The humans proved this. Ambassador Dohyun smiled proudly as the young Quillan continued his speech. You call humans soft and emotional, Zethi said. But they are the most successful species in the galaxy at solving problems everyone else calls impossible. Maybe being emotional is actually being smart. When Zethi finished speaking, the assembly was quiet for a long moment. Then, slowly, delegates began to talk among themselves. Even species that usually disagreed with each other were nodding their heads. The vote was close, but the Universal Medical Assistance Protocols passed. For the first time in galactic history, all species agreed to help each other during medical emergencies. Earth would coordinate the efforts, and human doctors would lead the response teams. After the vote, many delegates came to thank Zethi personally. Even some ethereals admitted that they had learned something new about the value of compassion. 1 year later, Zethi received a message that made him smile. It was a photograph from the first Quillan Medical College graduation ceremony. 20. Young Quillans in doctor's robes stood proudly in front of their school. Each one wore a small earth pin, just like Zethi. At the bottom of the photo was a message in both Quillan script and Korean characters. Those who stopped to help, Dumul Junan Saramdil, Daumul Junan Saramdil. Zethi thought about Dr. Jihoon Kang, who is now head of the Galactic Medical Emergency Response Team. He thought about his mother Vera, who had become a nurse helping other recovered Quillan patients. He thought about all the human doctors and nurses who continued to travel the galaxy, stopping to help anyone who asked. In the corridor outside his office, Zethi could hear alien children playing. They were from many different species, but they were all playing the same game. One child would pretend to be sick, and the others would pretend to be human doctors coming to the rescue. Help her, please, the sick child would call out. Do not worry, the human doctors would reply. We are here to help. And they always were. The galaxy had learned something important from one small blue boy and his dying mother. It had learned that the strongest species was not the one with the biggest ships or the most advanced technology. The strongest species was the one that stopped to help when someone said, please.